This evening, let's explore Dragpa Gyatso's Pacification explained. And then let's meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is brought to you by the good-hearted folks who help support this channel on Patreon. This evening, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two, but first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as profoundly, wrong button, as Qui-Gon Jinn on Naboo, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Hello, Cosmic Love. Good news. If at any time during this evening's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, this explanation is a three-part process that we began last night, and now we're going to conclude it. And by it, we mean a prayer of to Jetsantara for the fulfillment of wishes. So we began with invocation. This morning was increase, and now it's pacification. So we're going to start with a whole list of things replete with bullet points because I'm fancy. But they all have the same thing. The stuff that we're listing, may it be swiftly pacified and eliminated. Just like the way our bowels behave after that second bowl of lentils. Okay, so we begin with, may all obstacles to the attainment of omniscience be swiftly pacified and eliminated. Now, omniscience is a wonderfully poetic metaphor for enlightenment. Omniscience doesn't mean you know everything about everything. It means you understand that all things share the same nature, and that nature is that everything can be, anything that can be noticed can be released. And when we are releasing it in harmony with our exhalation, it could feel like that which we noticed was now as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could be tantalizing to the eye, is actually non-graspable to the hand. So that's it. Emptiness solved, enlightenment demystified. As well as harmful influences and disease. But we want to happen to all harmful influences and disease. We want it to be swiftly pacified and eliminated. So, disease is obvious. Let's look at the human condition. And a great example of the human condition is the behavior of infants. Typically, how do you know when it's time to put the infant down for a nap? It starts crying. Its belly is full, its nappies are dry, but it's crying. It probably needs a nap. And how do you know when baby's had enough laying down and wants to be picked up? It starts squalling. And that impulse is in us. Now, very few adults start crying like a baby, but we do have boo-boo faces when we're tired, and we have been known to be cranky upon rising. All of us. So we are wired in such a way that when certain needs are not, I'm talking funny today because I have central hearing loss, which makes me talk funny, but it's exacerbated when I'm tired. And this has been a very big week for me, going to doctor's appointments and whatnot. So if I speak funny now, it's not because I've had too many martinis. It's because I just haven't had enough sleep this week. So if I start slurring and you can't understand me, please do not be shy. Simply bring it to my attention in the chat window, and I shall redouble my efforts, as they say in Britain. So when we are fatigued, we become emotionally volatile. If someone tells you that emotional volatility is a spiritual indictment, they're ignorant or manipulative. Emotional volatility is just a barometer of what's going on in our bodies. But it does undermine our efforts to think straight, no less be able to meditate. So it behooves us to do everything in our power to make sure that our needs are met, not in a debaucherous, pampering sort of way, but just in a pragmatic sort of way. I think it was the Romans who might have said, healthy body, healthy mind. And I know that because I heard it on an episode of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Gosh, how many years ago? Way back in the 90s, when the crust of the Earth was still cooling. What else do we want to be swiftly pacified and eliminated? Here's a catch-all. All that brings untimely death. So let's gonna take a moment and just pretend that all the literalists are 100% correct. And when we die, if we do so auspiciously, 9 months later, we take rebirth as a squalling infant who can't sit up straight, who has no vocabulary, and has to go through the rigmarole of childhood to reacquire those skills so they can again receive the trainings to become a high Dharma practitioner and then help others. That is a huge detail. And that's assuming that the literalists are 100% correct. What if they're not? What if rebirth is just a metaphor? Then it would behoove us to stay as alive and stay as lucid as we can for as long as we can in the most sustainable way so we can continue to master the path and be a light to humanity. Humanity has taken a detour. To quote Bugs Bunny, humanity took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. And we are just lost in cognitive bias and logical fallacy and greed and hate and the resurgence of fascism and the death throes of capitalism, like the, and I'm going to mispronounce this, like the Uber-Uros, the snake eating its own tail, which is the epitome of non-sustainability. Humanity could use some wisdom and some peace and some love. It could use people who master the Buddha's path. What else do we want to be swiftly pacified and eliminated? How about bad dreams and evil omens, as well as the 8 major fears? So first of all, literal bad dreams suck. They undermine our sleep, which we need to be healthy physically and mentally. But sometimes bad dreams are more than bad dreams. They're considered evil omens. So if we experience evil omens, it may make us more neurotic and more anxious. If evil omens are real and not just perceived, then it could fuel our misfortune and it could fuel our controlling tendencies. So these are things we want to sidestep. When I was younger and much dumber than I am now, I got really caught up in the self-importance of literalism and tantric fundamentalism. Wanted to be this great magician, like the one that was portrayed in Life of Brian. There are some who call me Tim, like that guy. So I wanted to be Lama Tim. John Cleese, that's it. John Cleese's character from Life, no, not from Life of Brian, from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You know, with the ram's horns on the side of his head. I think that was just before the attack of the killer rabbit. But what do we mean by the 8 major fears? Well, this is, once again, an Iron Age thing, and the list is right here. The 8 great dangers of lions, which is self-explanatory. Elephants. So a lion is a predator, so there's malicious intent. And there are predators in the ocean, metaphorically speaking. There are malicious people. An elephant is not necessarily malicious. It's an herbivore, but it's big. It's huge. You don't want an elephant stumbling upon you or fleeing from someone into you or into your crops or into your house. So there is harm that can be malicious. There's also harm that's not malicious, yet still harmful. There's literal fire and the metaphoric fire the Buddha spoke of in the fire sermon, which basically means when we are under the thrall, when we experience the tyranny of our primal survival drives, if that is a dreadful circumstance. We don't wish that on anybody. Snakes, once again, the old snake in the grass, people who want to do us harm. Harm to our body, harm to our fortune, harm to our reputation. There are people like that. Thieves, imprisonment, floods, shipwrecks. So basically, this reminds me of a phrase from the Christian New Testament, and the like, which is a grass catcher list. And also the ancient promise of there's an ancient promise, you can take literally or figuratively, that those who practice the 10-syllable mantra of Great Tara are protected from the 8 major fears. And one of the early Dalai Lamas multiplied it by 2 and called it 16, and one was literal and one was metaphoric. But the idea is if we free ourselves from the burden of literalism, the 8 major fears simply are things that are yucky and bad for us. So it's this very, very useful to take an easy approach, which is inferred by the next line, not lime. There's nothing wrong with limes unless it's thrown at your head. The next line, all forms of harm. What do you want to happen to all forms of harm? You got it, to be flushed down the great metaphysical toilet. Okay. Having beat that into the ground, come let us turn our attention to the latest iteration of our practice text, or sadhana, if you fancy. Let's begin by exercising the neural pathways responsible for empathy and enthusiasm simply by chanting the recitations of bodhicitta and refuge. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Now let us practice 4 exercises where we contemplate both impermanence and interdependence using the cunning tools of metaphor and rhetorical question. During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the first half of our rhetorical question. And during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the second half of our rhetorical question. Now, a really great question would be, why do you put the first half on the bottom? And the answer is because it's a physiological inference to breathe deeply, treating the lower abdomen as if it was the third lung. Let's dig in. We come to our first of 2 sets of silent meditations. This first one could be described as relaxing into the non-graspable nature of mind. It can serve as an antidote to clinging, and it is known by many names, such as trek show or slice through. The practice is very easy. The key to mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. For each inhalation is wired to give us automatic access to our sympathetic nervous system, which is evolved not for active concentration, but instead for mere perception, vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random. What then is the key to meditation? To silently and mentally recite the verb ease, which functions as a synonym for relaxing, and to do so during each exhalation. For each exhalation is already wired to give us automatic access to our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Now, mental release doesn't mean our problems go away. It doesn't mean we no longer perceive our problems. It means that we're able to make peace with the presence of problems and the absence of things we may desire. That doesn't mean it doesn't bother us, but it means we make peace with what's going on, and we make peace with our visceral reaction to what's going on. Having said that, let's meditate. But wait, if you've just joined me and you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Let's meditate. Having completed our first silent meditation, we turn our attention now to mantra meditation, where we combine the contemplations of love and letting go that serve as antidotes to hating with the recitation of mantra. This is known by many names, including tokal or leap over. We're going to begin by leaping over our competitive tendencies through the tool, by using the tool of love. To be more precise, wishing love, which is the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Together. May all minds of all beings know me as wise and peaceful as the mind of a Buddha of law such as Grintara. Symbolized by a one-syllable seed bija mantra such as Tamoti clay drop. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the concise version of this loving wish. As we exhale, we physically relax as best we can into the verbal recitation of this mantra. Tare de da de du re swaha. 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 Da de du 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 da de du re swaha. May all relationships of all beings know me as loving and joyful as a real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by this 10-syllable mantra. Da de du da de du re swaha. 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 Okay, here we go. Silent meditation. Or contemplation, if you prefer. Let us use love to leap over our physical competition. May whole bodies of all beings know and enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment such as Grintara. All right, so now we're going to practice the silent, concise, silent contemplation of the extensive one we just chanted. And now we blend it with mantra recitation. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re Swaha. 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 May all circumstances or lots of all... Take two. May all circumstances or lots of all beings know have the safety, good fortune, or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, spirit and avanti. Thank you for your patience. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re Swaha. 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 We switch gears now from love to letting go. And we're going to use the tool of letting go to leapfrog over our clinging tendencies. And yes, it actually does help if you make that funny face when you say clinging. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye is not graspable to the hand. That is practice. First visions leap over circumstantial clinging. How is it that as we inhale, all circumstances or our lots could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. Whoops, I'm all over the place. That's the ticket right there. Let's try that again. Excuse me. Aha. Om Dare Du Nane Nu Re Swaha. 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 Let us practice the second vision's leap over physical clinging. How is it that as we inhale, all bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yet of light. Om Tare Nare Nure Swaha. 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 How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication, our speech could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Let's try this real quick. Let's do this, and then do the old cut and paste. Paste, come on, paste. Where are you hiding from me? Om Dare Dare Swaha. 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 If you've just joined us, welcome aboard. When you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply it to your life, simply type that question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. How is it that as we inhale we could experience all minds' perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings quite clearly? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined seed-settled hum of light. Om Tare Dare Dure Swaha. 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 Om Dare 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 Dare Dure Swaha. And now let us relax into the nature of sensation, which of course could serve as an antidote to craving. It too is known by many names, such as tikle, which translates from the Tibetan into English as drop or essence. Let's see here. That's what I'm looking for. All right, if you've just joined us, first we practiced relaxing into the nature of mind, then we relaxed into the nature of sound, and now we're going to relax into the nature of sensation. As we breathe in, we're going to silently and mentally recite the sensory verb feel. As we exhale, we're going to silently and mentally recite the 3-syllable verb relaxing. Now, the cool thing is we don't have to force this because perception is already wired into every inhalation and release is already wired into every exhalation. All we need to do is literally get out of our own way. So here's the funny thing. There is no need to visualize. There is no need to emote. There's no need to believe. There's no need to force ourselves to feel anything. If all we do is silently and mentally recite these words in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation and our relaxation, we will make progress on this path. We conclude with the 4 points of effortless manifesting. The first of 4 points is the somewhat lengthy invocation of the archetype of dynamic kindness. May light rays radiate from the saddle built on my heart, inviting Shamatara, surrounded by the assembly of Lamas, Yidams, Kandras, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Dharmapalas. Gods and demigods bear the crowns at your lotus feet. O liberator from all misfortune, to you, Mother Tara, I bow down. Homage to the noble Lady Tara. Homage to Tara, swift and gallant, whose glance flashes like flares of lightning. Born on the heart of a blossoming lotus that arose from the tears of the triple world's Lord. Homage to whose countenance is like 100 full moons gathered in autumn, smiling and glowing with brilliant radiance like 1,000 stars clustered ablaze. Homage, golden lady, whose lotus hand is graced with a blue water-born flower, embodying generosity, non-violence, patience, your mindfulness, and meditation. Homage to whose victories are endless jewel adorning the great Tathagata's crowns. She is well set by the ears of the victors who have accomplished all the perfections. Homage to who with Tutare and who for the desire roams unto the ends of space. She tramples underfoot the 7 rules and has the strength to summon all. Homage who praised by Indra, Agni, Brahma, Maruts, and Shiva, Putas, Vetalas, and Gandharvas. Let's try this again. Homage who praised by Indra, Agni, Brahma, Maruts, and Shiva, Putas, Vetalas, Gandharvas, and Yakshas pay tribute to her. Homage who with Trajan pay crush the enemies yantras. With right leg drawn in and left extended shining, she treads the mist flames wildly blazing. Homage who with Ture this fearsome lady destroys the most powerful demons. With a deep furrowed brow upon her lotus face, she is the slayer of each and every foe. Homage whose fingers grace her heart, displaying the mudra of the 3 jewels, graced by a wheel adorning every direction with a dazzling radiance that overwhelms all. Homage whose supreme joy like a radiant garland that crowns her in splendor. Smiling and laughing with Tutare, she brings demons in the world under control. Homage who can summon the hosts of earthly guardians. Her frown quivers and the syllable whom delivers us from every misfortune. Homage who so brightly adorned with a sliver of moon as her crown. Amitabha graces her locks as gleaming rays streaming forever forth. Homage who seated in a halo blazing with apocalyptic flames, her right leg extended and left drawn in. Immersed in joy she crushes legions of foes. Homage who strikes the earth as Homage who on the earth's surface strikes her palm and stomps her feet. Her brow deeply furrowed, with whom she fills the 7 nether worlds. Homage her blissful gracious domain, the peace of Nirvana. With Om and Swaha in perfect union, she lays waste to every terrible evil. Homage who immersed in rapture shatters our bodies of all her foes. She manifests from the wisdom syllable, whom displaying each of her mantras 10 syllables. Omasha Ture from the seeds of the bohum, her feet stomping boldly. She causes to quake the supreme mountain Mandara and the three ones. Omasha, who holds in her hand a dark moon like a divine lake. With Tada twice and then with Pei, she totally cleanses all of the poisons. Omasha, who is served by kings of house divine and Kimnada, suited in armor of joy and splendor, she dispels all nightmares and soothes away strife. Omasha, whose eyes shine with luster bright with the fullness of sun and moon. With twice uttered Hara and Tutati, she pacifies the most intractable diseases. Omasha, who has the power to free, she puts forth the realities as a set of three. Supreme Turisha completely destroys the hordes of Grahas, Vetalas, and Yakshas. This praise with the 21 verses of homage is itself the root mantra. O Mamashu, the noble lady Tara, Masha Tare, quick one heroine. Batutare, you are the one who banishes all fear. Bature, the liberator who bestows all benefits, and with Swaha may it be so. We come to the second point of the spontaneous fulfillment of wishes, the 5 well wishes. That's a trifle redundant, so I think I'm going to use this phrase. May all my speech forms and lots be as wise, loving, healthy, and fortunate as great heroines, real or imagined, suitable mantra archetype in paradise. May all beings like green heroine master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate all others. May all beings practice self-kind communication, conduct, and calmness, flow spontaneous and uncontrived. At the very end of each being's life, may they take immediate and auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. May everyone be free from misery, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. We come to the third point, Tada's Windhorse or Droma Lungta. Om Queen of Space, Savior of all beings, perfectly pure essence of wind that pervades all. You give birth to all words and cause them to flourish, noble Lady Tada, I pay homage to you. Lady whose face gleams as white as the autumn moon by pacifying all adversity and affliction, and spontaneously bringing favorable conditions and fulfilling wishes, generate the windows of dissolving the 8 dangers into space. Lady who shines as brightly as a golden sun by eliminating all decadence and poverty, and increasing lifespan, merit, wealth, and renown, generate the windows of expanding prosperity and fortune. Lady who blazes with the luster of red rubies by dispelling all dependency and misfortune, and bringing the whole apparent world under my control, generate the windows of magnetizing the triple world. Lady who sparks with blue sapphire brilliance by repelling all enemies, obstacles, and harm, and granting total victory over all danger and adversity. Generate the windows of overpowering demonic hordes. Lady who beams with emerald green light by pacifying all unwanted circumstances, and accomplishing all aims with auspicious glory. Generate the windows of acting on a space-like scale. We come to the final point, the Durrani of interdependence. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetun te shantata gato hyavatat. Te shansayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramana swaha. All phenomena originate from causes. The Tathagata has taught of these causes, and also that which puts a stop to these causes. This too has been taught by the great yogi. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even support this channel on Patreon. In approximately 10.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way. Have a good evening, Cosmic Love.